Where sources tell your channel that Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan wrote a letter threatening to resign from the National Executive and all other posts within the Aam Aadmi Party if their terms weren't met. The letter was written just ahead of the Political Affairs Committee meeting. Pooja Shali will join us with the details, and that perhaps also indicates the reason for the U-turn made by the Aam Aadmi Party, a change in stance where some of the references that were made in the letter that was written were aired post the Political Affairs Committee meeting, with the party taking the stance of strengthening itself nationally, trying to create a volunteer base, and also perhaps considering fighting elections where the Aam Aadmi Party footprint is strong. Pooja Shali now joins us with the letter. So is this the compromise that they are going to arrive at and try to low down this entire controversy? Pooja.
Very interestingly, Anand, in fact, Arvind's camp is maintaining that they have not received any such letter, while both Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan camp are on record stating non-committal on the matter. And but what sources are telling us that yesterday, before the Political Affairs Committee meeting, there was a letter sent to Arvind Kejriwal saying that if these demands are not met, if these terms are not met, we will resign. But very interestingly, the reason that perhaps both camps are not responding is because by yesterday evening, the PAC meeting's decisions were exactly on these terms. The PAC meeting decision were one about volunteer-based expansion, to give more focus to volunteers, to expand to states contesting in polls, and most importantly, to make sure that the party is going to see a new road. And definitely does appear that the controversy, both camps are trying to diet down, because they believe that yesterday's PAC was from Arvind's camp trying to reach out to Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan, and perhaps that is the reason both these individuals are non-committal right now. Back to you.
Well, so it is the turn of events. Arvind Kejriwal arrives in the capital. Prashant Bhushan puts out a tweet and also shows a willingness to meet, saying, I will speak to nobody but Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind, there is a response saying that we will meet very, very soon. Then thereafter comes this talk of both the two leaders threatening to quit. And then the PAC meeting happens, and there is a significant change in stance. Rather than focusing on developing and consolidating in Delhi, suddenly the voice that was being echoed, the opinion that was being echoed by Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav, now also being championed by the PAC.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the reason that the resignation that we're now getting to know from our sources was sent before the PAC. Suddenly, both these camps are refusing to state, while Arvind Kejriwal camp says we did not even receive the letter copy. The Yogendra Yadav camp and Prashant Bhushan are saying they've written something to the effect of that to the Arvind camp, but nothing specific. So suddenly it does appear that after yesterday's PAC meeting, there is change in stance. But does this mean that this reaching out is going to become clear, or perhaps it is only going to escalate further? Because as of now, I can tell you, since the day Arvind Kejriwal has come back from that health treatment, he's immediately asked the volunteers and the members to sort out differences, to make it look like one united party, because the volunteers have got extremely upset. And therefore, perhaps this is Kejriwal's way of turning the events, of turning the stance, even if it means all these members will stay together. Back to you.
But there was a promise he made to the people of Delhi. What happens to what he said, standing up there saying that we will focus on consolidating Delhi? The Aam Aadmi Party is not going anywhere, especially him. Now, if they are going to expand the volunteer base nationally, they're going to focus on trying to contest polls in places where Aam Aadmi Party has a strong footprint. Who leads the challenge? Because very clearly, Arvind Kejriwal wants Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav sidelined.
Well, definitely there are a lot of internal differences, especially with this specific rift that needs to be sorted out. But what I'm being told really by Arvind Kejriwal's camp presently is that all efforts are being made to sit together, to sort out differences, because the image of the party has taken a massive backseat, that the volunteers have got extremely confused. And that is why even if this resignation letter that was sent yesterday morning before the PAC is suddenly a controversy that both camps want to kill right now. They want to make sure that it looks like a united front. And very importantly, even at the court yesterday, at the Kadkaduma court, Yogendra Yadav was seen engaged in a conversation with Kejriwal. So definitely does appear that there could be some sort of a reaching out, an olive branch being sent. Yogendra Yadav seems to have accepted it, but the question is, has Prashant Bhushan done so? Because Bhushan has refused to meet anybody else apart from Arvind for any sort out of the issue. So while Yogendra Yadav seems to also be bowing down, Prashant Bhushan still standing very strong and defiant.
Well, the more details are emerging as to when this letter was written and when these decisions were taken in terms of the dates and the timing. But we will stick to the fact that the letter went just before the change of heart happened and the PAC meeting happened, like Pooja Shali is telling us. Pooja, did the developments over in Maharashtra unit of the Aam Aadmi Party also have an effect that forced Arvind Kejriwal and his side and the Kejriwal camp to take notice of the way they were trying to structure developments or script the developments?
Well, definitely what has happened now is even yesterday's PAC decision that was taken was all about the volunteer base, was all about trying to expand, and therefore it appears that the party is also realizing that within and due to this all this inner rift, the volunteers, if they take a step back, they are the ground cadre. They cannot be upset. If that happens, it's going to really backfire for the party. And that is why, since that letter was sent and since the PAC, perhaps in the last 24 hours, things have considerably changed for better for the Aam Aadmi Party. They're trying to put down all the controversies, and especially when yesterday the stance was to look at other states to expand volunteer base, to thrust focus on volunteers, even if the states are going to polls, definitely means that the party is trying to expand its base. Definitely does appear that the party realizes that you can perhaps deal with your differences, because if the volunteers takes a step back, it is going to become a massive issue. So this letter that was apparently sent last morning before the PAC took note of that letter, took note of several similar letters written by Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan to focus on volunteers, to make it more transparent, to expand it for them. It does appear that camp, that coterie team has decided to take this up. Yogendra Yadav seems to be responding in positive, but as of now, nothing on record from Prashant Bhushan as to what exactly is stand his, because he
Right.
clearly said, my differences are with Arvind. I want to sort it out with him and nobody else.